everybody, welcome back to Property Couple. Today we are chatting about what is an HMO.
What is an HMO?
We get asked this all the time and we feel like we have to explain it in the comment section. It just simply means a house of multiple occupancy. So for the projects you've seen on our channel, all of them have been HMOs. Why have we decided to do that?
Yeah, can I just put a small disclaimer right at the beginning? So
yeah.
I think with HMO, there's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it than a normal buy-to-let, normal single-let house strategy. So I would just say, make sure you do your research, your due diligence. Lia and I both come through a property education network. So we've learned a lot about this particular strategy and there's a lot behind it. So just a small disclaimer.
Basically, don't use YouTube as your only research for HMO. I think that's
basically
what
don't go and do an HMO having done no, proper learning about it, and then come back to us and say we made all these mistakes.
Yeah. So
small disclaimer.
We did
anyway.
Yeah. So basically, if anyone is actually also interested in the property training that we did an intensive HMO course within the training. So we'll link it all in the description in case you are interested. And yeah, we'll get into the video.
Brilliant.
Firstly, why did we go for HMOs? Why did we decide to jump straight into that over like your traditional buy-to-let, family-let, renting out to a normal family?
When Lia and I first started looking at property investing specifically, we had our eyes and our goal fixed on a traditional buy-to-let, and the reason we sort of then changed our perception slightly was a couple of things. So one, the position I was in, and I have mentioned this before on another podcast, so you might be getting sick and tired of this, but I was in a really bad place mentally, and I was just so desperate to get out of my corporate job and change things. And so I needed a higher cash flow in order to be able to replace
your income.
A lot of income. Yeah, exactly. So another thing was that the level of investment may dictate your strategy. So as we've mentioned before, we work with certain investors that get a fixed return on their investment. Because of the level of investment that we had secured, it then allowed us to open up more options such as HMO, which require more money to get into the deal. So they're typically,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, they require more money because often the refurb's so much more.
Yeah.
It's not like you just buy a property, paint the walls and chuck someone in it. It's really quite a lot from start to finish, replacing loads of things that need to be like compliant, fire doors, really boring stuff, but it's so expensive. So we had to basically maximize how much money we could get out of each property by going down the HMO route.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're the two main factors that drove our decision to start with HMO. So it was the level of investment we had allowed that strategy, and also the burning desire to
get out of your
quickly,
job.
As fast as possible, get out of the job and start building the life we want to be building. So Lia mentioned they're higher cash flowing properties. So, and
also because we were first time buyers, first time landlords when we were doing the first one, there was quite a lot of, I guess, risk attached to that. Like, here's two people with no property portfolio, nothing to their name, just all we'd had is sort of a track record of renting our entire life. Luckily we had good credit, that was helpful. But one thing we didn't want to jump into was a licensed HMO. So like, for instance, 5 bedrooms or more, even though we found a property that would have been perfect for it. We didn't want to jump straight down the kind of like licensed or even further like sui generis, where it's like 7 or more beds, isn't it? So there's the level we entered in at, which is the 4-bed, well, we chose to do 4 ensuite, unlicensed HMO. And when I say unlicensed, it doesn't mean anything we're doing is illegal. It's totally legal, and all of the stuff we do is signed off by like building control. So like the local council know what's going on, but we don't actually need to pay a specific HMO license yearly to be running that business. Yeah.
So Lia mentioned that we stick to a 4-bed HMO, which is a smaller HMO, but 4 single people as well.
Yeah.
So the moment you start going into 5 people, that's when you then need a license. And then once you
also, I think you need a track record. I think you need to prove to people that you know what you're doing, because you could go and do a 5-bed with no experience, but they're going to be on you, like checking all the time. I don't want that either.
I was pretty scared when we first started looking at HMO as our like primary strategy. I'm not gonna lie.
How come you're scared of?
Well, because
going wrong?
it's a big jump from a buy to let, but the 4-bed sort of unlicensed is a little bit more palatable.
Yeah,
although there's a lot going on with it.
Yeah, And I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I know that every council and every district have slightly different rules, and in the area that we're investing in, that is the rule. So once again, if you're looking to do HMO, do your own research, go on your local council website, see what's the compliance checks and read everything, because it's not one size fits all. There's like different things in different areas of the country, like for instance Article 4, which could prevent you from even having an HMO in an area. Yeah, there's loads of it. It's really boring, but
I love
you love it.
Yeah. Another question that people ask us is, why not just go and do a family let?
With us, we've got investors on board, and they need to be paid. They've got monthly interest that is accruing on their money. We've used their money to go and do what we've done. So I think it's in our interest to get a higher yield, a higher return on investment out of every project we do. Some people might be really happy with like a 9 or 10% yield, but we're looking at more of a
it's a really good point.
Higher yielding properties, a bigger return on investment, so that we can, we've got to pay them, we've got to pay ourselves. Also with our properties, all bills are included. So we've got bills to pay on every property.
It makes it really, you're right, it makes it really difficult to actually source these types of deals, because like you said, we need even more margin to allow for investors, to allow for all the bills, because when you do an HMO, the tenant pays one price and it includes everything, which is fantastic for the tenant.
Yeah, especially since you're not getting a family move in. You might get 4 people that don't know each other, and no one wants to be the bill person. No one wants to be the sole person responsible for the bills, or even changing the bins. Like, why should one person in the house have to be that one person that cleans and tidies and things like that? So it's a totally different setup. There's like a weekly cleaner that goes in that's organised by us, by our management company, and then bills are paid, we take care of that. They just pay their fixed fee for their room, and all bills included Wi-Fi, and then when they need to leave, they do. They don't need to take their names off any bills. So it works specifically for this kind of tenant, and that's what we are going for.
What we're not saying is don't go and do family lets.
No.
I think we'll do family lets at some point. I just think, like I said, the strategy that we used was needed because I wanted to get out of a job as quickly as I could and build cash flow as quickly as I could. And equally, the investment we had allowed us to do these types of deals. So, there are some really good positives to doing family lets. The tenants stay a lot longer. They bring all their furniture. It's more their home. The ASTs, the contracts are longer.
When we lived in buy-to-let, that became our home. And that feels like home. I don't want to say we're not providing homes. I feel like we're providing very comfortable, lovely spaces for people. But when you're in an HMO, put it this way, nobody aspires to live in an HMO for the rest of their life, do they? It's temporary. You might live there for 6 months, you might live there for a year.
That's a good point.
And you move on. There's nothing aspirational. It's
more transactional, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think we're fulfilling that purpose, and we know that we're doing that. We're not going, oh my God, I know that this person's only got one shelf in a fridge. Actually, everyone gets a fridge in ours, but you know what I mean? Yeah,
and I think buy-to-let as well, so family let, it's less money to purchase the property usually.
Yeah.
And it's a lot less money to refurb the property, definitely. So there's it's pros and cons, but we're talking about the strategy that we've picked to start off with.
Okay guys, we think that's pretty much everything we're going to say on HMOs today. And like you were saying, we're only scratching the surface here. We're not sort of going super in depth, because that's not what we are. We're just sharing our experience, aren't we?
Yeah, I kind of put that in the disclaimer at the beginning. We don't aspire to be educational in the sense of providing
property education.
That's not what we're here for. We've come through a great company that's done that. So that's
there's plenty of people that know way more than us that are doing that job. So
I think it was just sort of answering some of the questions that people keep writing on YouTube and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, for sure. So as you said at the beginning, if you're looking to go into HMOs, do your research, maybe go and get some training, get some education, or shadow someone that's doing it. We think that's pretty much everything we're going to cover in this video. We hope you enjoyed it, and go check out some of our other videos showing you around our befores and afters, finished HMOs, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
Bye. We're also on Instagram at Property Couple UK. Hope you like our new jingle. Ding 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 ding.